chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, buy before you're good. Was told to buy when it was boring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic, they dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future.
How much one are you giving away?
125. Game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how.
There you go.
I'm a rainmaker,
That explains a lot.
and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better. The time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the gain show. Seeking out this road, cause soon will come a bear market. We're learning and growing, and when it's slow, will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen.
Did you notice some big news over the past few days in the stock market? You know how what goes up always comes down? We've had a prolonged bull run in the stock market, and the way I think about increasing gains is like the ice keeps getting thinner under where you're standing. And if you're standing on it, at some point it breaks. Did you notice that Elon Musk and also Jeff Bezos decided they were going to move out a bunch of their own capital out of their gigantic stock positions in their own companies? It's interesting, isn't it? But if they're moving out of stocks, where are they going to move to? Now, there are a lot of people in the crypto space that aren't very fond of Elon Musk. If you remember back in March, and some of you around and some weren't, a few tweets from him helped pump the crypto market very early this year, and then a few more tweets from him partly helped dump it as well. Or at least there are a lot of people who blame him for it. We can like him or dislike him, but can we agree he is brilliant? Do you think that perhaps him and Jeff know that stocks are overvalued? Elon is smart in how he is dressing up the conversation on why he is selling. Let's take a look today at his tweets with him and U.S. Senator and avowed socialist Bernie Sanders. Now, I have some longtime friends that love Bernie. Whether you like him or love him or hate him, Elon Musk is absolutely brutal to him, so be warned. What is really going on here? I think Elon Musk is creating a pretext for selling outside of his real reasons. His real reason, in my opinion, Tesla's up huge, and any smart person would be pulling out massively at this point. And I think that's what's happening. So if Elon is selling, Bezos is selling, inflation is expected to continue increasing, then where are these billionaires going to put their capital? Well, let's think about it. And that is absolutely what we're going to talk about today. So, welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money and crypto and are looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family by liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications button on. Special note, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a crypto investor myself, sharing with you how I think about the crypto markets and specifically the cryptos I like. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about in this channel because I don't talk about cryptos I don't believe in, unless I specifically say so. Special shout out as well to our new Patreons, McDrew and Brandon K. Let's welcome D-Money here in the Rainmakers Command Center studio.
What up, Jay? How's it going, man?
Fantastic. Did you see that news about, it's kind of been an ongoing story for about a week, but Elon Musk continues selling his stock.
Yeah, I did. And it's interesting, right? He's obviously, he's made a ton of money in his own company, but he's also, we know that he has holdings in Bitcoin. He's talked about having holdings in ETH, DOGE. I'm sure that he's made a ton of money there too and sees some writing on the wall of what could be, right?
Yeah, and those are the ones that he's publicly announced. But even when he bought those, he bought them for a while and then announced it later, right? So, that's what we're going to talk about later today. Let's get your thoughts. If you're watching this live stream, let's see in the comments where you think Elon, what he's doing with his money. Tell us in the comment section below. Do you think stocks are going to continue going on a parabolic move that they're making because of the printing of money? Or do you think their bear market is finally ready to start. What do you think?
Hey, let's go ahead and get this party started, all right?
Let's do it. Join me, Rainmakers. So, let's take a look today. We're going to look a little bit at what the S&P 500 has done, just as a general picture of the stock market. Now, what goes up always comes down at some point. And this really, I mean, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos doing this. Elon's dipped his toes in crypto earlier this year with some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Do you think since then he's learned a great deal more about what's happening with crypto? Because that's my guess. But these billionaires usually make their moves first, then they tell people. So none of these two have announced huge additions to their crypto holdings. But where else are they planning to park that kind of money? Now, I'm looking forward to the show with you today. Thank you for joining us. We will do these live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So let me share my screen with you. Just a quick look at the S&P 500 past 10 years. And really, this goes back on a bigger history. We went max history. And, I mean, you could have bought in the S&P 500 way back here at $121. But relevantly, let's look here. There was a big sell-off here in 2008, and so let's just start it there. And from 2008, it's gone from $868 to $4,600 in the S&P 500. Now, in stocks, that's a huge gain. In crypto, it'd be like, okay, that was a good month. But in stocks, that was a decade, over a decade. In fact, from 2008 to here, we're talking about 13 years. And see, these kind of rises, see how it goes parabolic at the top, and then it's usually looking for a big drop at some point, and then some settling. And I have been wondering when this is going to be, because there's nothing that keeps running up and never goes down. So when is it ready to go down? Well, that's what we're thinking about. Now, if you're in the audience, I'd love to hear in the comment section. I'll take a look in a second. Where is Elon moving his money? If he were to buy some cryptos, what do you think he would be buying? Do you think he goes for the generals like more Bitcoin and ETH? Or do you think he looks at some of the specific technology? Because he really dipped his toes in. And if you look at Raoul Pal actually first got involved in crypto, I think, I can't remember if it was 2013. He bought some Bitcoin. It went up 4x. He got scared because it was way up 4x and he sold it all. And then he got back involved in 2017, but by the time he was ready to really get involved, his depth of understanding has greatly increased. And my guess is Elon Musk is getting to that point. So what do you think? What stocks would he be buying?
I like Justin B said he's not going into fiat.
I know, not for long.
We know that.
Transitory. I think Elon buys, this from Fernando Mason, I think Elon buys whatever he wants and then tweets about it. Maxwell's like, someone say Zoo?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We will be talking about Zoo today.
Hey, and before we get too far into this, I talked about this on the Telegram, but we are going to give away 125 won today. So explain what's going on with that, Jay.
So one of our sponsors is Wanchain, and it's kind of like you wear Nikes every day, and then Nike calls you and says, "Hey, do you want to sponsor? Do you want us to sponsor you?" I was like, "Absolutely." And they're like, "Well, what do you want?" And I was like, "Well, can you give us 500 won every month to give away to our audience?" And they said, "Yeah, done." So that means roughly every week we give away 125 won, and right now it's trading at right about $1. So think of it as $125, but it's more a question of what it's going to be, and I'll go over the charts later. So thank you to the Wanchain team for sponsoring us. I've been a follower of Wanchain since they ICO'd in 2017. Big believer in their trustless cross-chain technology. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. I wanted to share with you a little bit what's going on here. So this is the tweets from Elon Musk, and he is brutal to Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders, of course, he's a socialist, and what do socialists always want to do? We must demand that extremely wealthy pay their fair share, period. Now, he used to have this saying, "I think the millionaires and billionaires should pay their fair share." But he doesn't say
your best impression.
Yeah, he doesn't say millionaires anymore. It just says billionaires or the extremely wealthy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and why? Because he's a millionaire. Because capitalism did him very well. So Now he just says billionaires, because it's funny, we always think of somebody rich as somebody that's richer than us. Even the socialists are that way. And so Elon Musk tweets, I keep forgetting you're still alive. Now, that was brutal. That's brutal. Pretty funny, too. And then he says, want me to sell more stock, Bernie? Just say the word. Musk sold about 6.9 billion in shares last week, sending the stock price lower. Tesla shares are down more than 15%. Yeah, because when the owner is selling off, guess what other people are doing? And this is just the crypto version of it, but it's reflective of the price, right? So it's a synthetic peg to Tesla. And so it was all the way up to almost 1,300 per share. Oh my gosh, you remember when Tesla was like $50? And now, see, my challenge with Tesla, and it doesn't show on this chart, but Tesla like 7x last year. And for a stock that's gigantic. In crypto, we're like, oh, 7x, okay. In stock, that's unreal. That just doesn't happen hardly ever. And then it's gone up more since then. I mean, look at December. We're like right here, 588. So it doubled again from there. And who knows? I mean, it still hasn't broken this trend line, and it's been respecting this trend line pretty good. Hasn't broken through that, but definitely something to be concerned about. If it does, we'll see how this plays out. But my guess is, at some point, if not now, soon, stocks are going to start slowing down, and people are going to be pulling their money out. Where are they going to be moving that money to? Real estate, they could, but real estate is like at crazy all-time highs. Whereas Bitcoin, yes, it's a lot higher than it was, but even a lot of crypto still hasn't come up that much from where it had been. So we're just coming out of the crypto winter, like a couple months. We still have parabolic move ahead of us, not behind us. Real estate and stocks have this parabolic move that they're well into, that at some point should be ending soon. In crypto, we have at least a run this November, December. If not, I think it plays out like Raoul Pal says, that near the end of this year it slows down because there's some, especially U.S. investors, that are realizing some of their gains for tax reasons. And then they start rebuying next year, and that for 4, 5, 6 months into next year, we have a massive boom on a lot of these altcoin projects. I think it plays out just like that. Now, I also want to share with you, I want to look at Solen a little bit. I've talked about them a little bit. Had a big price drop. Is it even more attractive to buy? You know, as we like to buy when it's boring, or is this a huge concern that I should sell my position that I recently took? Also, Drive has had some big news, and we'll talk about that. Drive we have followed for a long time during when it's boring period. We like buying bottoms because we talk about thinking like investors here, not like the retail people. And there are plenty of channels out there for retail crypto people that just want to FOMO into stuff. That's not what we do here, because we're about making life-changing gains. This cycle combined with the next 5 years total, it's a perfect setup to why, if you're following this every day and learn to think like an investor, you'll be messing up if you don't make life-changing gains in the next 5 years, because understanding these cycles, once you start to get a hang of it, is pretty predictable, and you're not always right, and sometimes you're wrong before you're right, but on average, when you're patient and you just make good picks, you end up making huge returns. And those are the kind of things we talk about all the time. Also, Dee, will you cue me in at like 35-minute mark so we can do some questions and answers? That segment got cut a little short last time, and it's totally my fault.
Yeah, no
worries. Right at the end, I'm like, we have 4 minutes left, and let's do Q&A.
So yeah, 35, that'll be what, 10? Yeah, I got you. In about 20 minutes, we'll do that.
Perfect. All right, so we looked at the S&P 500, Tesla news. Let's take a look at Solen. Now, what do I like about Solen? So looking at their tweets, look at this from November 3rd. Now, keep in mind, their IDO was like November 2nd. And they already had $366 million total value locked. That means people are like staking in it and borrowing against it, but money locked up in their DeFi already, and it had just launched. And one of the other things that really caught my attention, their backers were Alameda Capital, I believe, yes, on that, and also Coinbase Ventures. Now, if Coinbase Ventures is an investor in it, do you think they get fast-tracked to being on Coinbase? Because that is pretty much my assumption. Let's look now, though. That was just barely, right? What day was that? That was November 3rd. Right now we're at November 15th, so 12 days ago. And we look at Solen, and it has 881 million locked up in it. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. Now, it's like, oh, you know, how is their token going to do? I thought I had it. Okay, I do have it pulled up here. Now, it recently, so I found out about it here, bought here, then went crazy. And then it's coming down like this, and I don't know what caused this sell-off drop here, but one of the things I liked about it is a lot of tokens when they first come out, there's a lot of sell pressure the first number of months from pre-sale investors who then get some tokens unlocked at the IDO, and then a month later, and then a month later. But with Solen, their lockups are like 3 years for their pre-sale investors, and so those lockups are really huge. Now, people who bought it at the IDO got it for like $6, so they can sell off and still be at profit. And that possibly is what happened here. Somebody dumped a lot that they got at the IDO right here. Who knows? So do I like this? I do. At these prices, the market cap's around $50 million. And so this is one that makes sense to me. Could go to even as high as $5 billion this run. Do I know it will? No. Did I take a huge position in this? No, because I like so many of the positions I have. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to sell to get more of it. So I took a small position in this one, but I like it, and I shared it with my gold Patreon levels immediately when it was at this price, and then later talked about it with the general audience more about it, and it's corrected. And so this is a great example of sometimes I'm wrong before I'm right. Like, I'm still happy with it. Actually, I was right, and then I was wrong in that who knew it was going to get cheaper like this. And I like this, and if it continues to drop, then I will have to get more. But when I see it do this, I don't sell. I buy more, unless I get news that really concerns me that was like, oh, it isn't the project I thought it was. All right. I also want to talk with you about Drive news. Now, what is Drive? Now, I interviewed the CEO. In fact, I think the first YouTube channel talking about Drive. And essentially, it was a decentralized competitor for Uber. And we had this CEO on. And at first, I thought, okay, do we really need a decentralized competitor to Uber? Because that's the first question you have to ask. Oh, great. Uber on the blockchain. And it's like, does it make sense to be on the blockchain? But when I spoke with the team, I was like, what they're doing totally makes sense. And part of the reason there's so much room for them to do well is sometimes these big centralized organizations get so big, they act like monopolies. And guess what? As human beings, we hate monopolies. They start to abuse their power. They cut what their drivers are making, then they cut it again. And then they keep pushing down so much pressure on their drivers, they're also increase the cost for the riders. And so then that creates a perfect opportunity for decentralization to lower the overhead costs of running that so that then drivers can get paid more while riders pay even less. And so Drive made perfect sense to us. Now, we like to buy when it's boring, and it's been very boring for a while, so we covered a lot on this audience during this time, because is it boring now? No, it's all the way up at 9 cents. Now, let's show recently what it's done. You see how it does, it almost does this in crypto. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes you get 3 steps forward, 1 step back. This is another 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and then it's probably climbing some more from here. Now, overall, what's the market cap look like? We don't know. The total supply is 1 billion. So at 9 cents, that means if all of their tokens are in circulation, that would put it about $100 million market cap. But we know not 100% of their tokens are in circulation. It's probably like 10%. So they're probably at about a $10 million market cap, maybe a $15 million market cap. So they could do more from here, but my guess is they do have a parabolic rise, followed by a pullback as they get outside the cycle, focus. They've been inside the focus because recently they hired the former Uber director that joined Drive ahead of the November pilot launch. So they have their pilot launching. They just pulled over the former Uber director, which is a big deal. And so people are like, oh my gosh, it's actually taking off. And so that's exactly what's driving the price. Now, the price isn't as good as it was. It was really, really, really attractive at 1.2 cents. Is it attractive here? Semi. You might be able to catch part of the ride, but the ice is getting thinner. and at some point you break through. So question is, do you take this for a short ride? That's up to you. I can't tell you what to do on that, but if you do, take some profits, and take profits pretty heavily along the way, because your starting entry price is already a lot higher than it could have been when we were talking about it when it was boring.
Yeah, and this is a reason why, you like being in the Telegram group, we were talking about it. There are a lot of people who are now taking this ride and who are making a lot of money. And so, this is an example of Jay is almost always right? You're not right all the time. You're almost always right. But the other thing, or what I wanted to bring up, Jay, is, let's see. So Marcus, he asks, do you think that Drive can surpass $1? The momentum it's building, plus the use case has me extremely bullish.
So whether it'll do that right away or whether this has two waves, I'm leaning towards two waves. It has an initial wave, and then it has a retracement cool down period, and then maybe February and March. At the end of that quarter, maybe there's some more good news that pushes it up above $1. Do I think it can the next 6 months? Yeah, I think it can. Absolutely. Do I think it will? Possibly. I think it looks like maybe it goes to about anywhere from 30 to 50 cents in the coming, could be as soon as 2 weeks. Then it has a cool off period, and focus kind of transfers to other things. There's going to be a lot of big announcements made from a lot of crypto projects. Save their big announcements for right as the momentum is hitting. And so we're seeing some pop-offs, kind of like you put popcorn in the microwave and you hear nothing for a while. That's been like the last 2 months when kind of it's been boring. And then all of a sudden you start having some pop-offs. And we've had Drive pop off. Omni, one of the ones that we've covered, has popped off a little bit. And some other things start jumping. Definitely some of the other ones that we've covered, Proton has popped off tremendously. And that's kind of what you see. And then all of a sudden tons are hitting all at the, you hear lots popping. But then when something pops, they go parabolic, and then they usually have a cool-off period. And so the question is whether it has one run or two. Want to read some more of the comments. What does Wanchain need to lift off? That's a great question. I'll talk about more about Wanchain in just a bit.
Few comments about Freeway token as well on Aubit, so let's go over that as well.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of Aubit, we have the links down below for both. There's one for the U.S., one for non-U.S. And Freeway token, I'm a big believer in here. The price settled down a little bit, which is good. I want it to stay cheap for a little bit longer because I haven't accumulated near as much on it I'd like. The only challenge I have is I like my positions and things, so I'm struggling on what I'm going to sell to roll into it and have to evaluate it because, even when you have millions, and you'll have this problem either this cycle or next if you follow the system, you're still trying to make decisions on where to put your liquidity. You have more options. You'll have a lot more options. But I was in your same position just 4 years ago, where literally I had enough to be about in 3 to 5 tokens. So I like this from Randall. I personally have used Freeway token and referred my mother even into it and received 43% APY and referral rewards from my mom signing up. The best hidden gem in crypto. Exactly. I've been in discussion with their team for about 6 months, and I really liked what I heard about it. Everything seemed good about it, but I'm like, man, they pay 3% a month on average in their USD supercharger, and I'm like, 3%, that's crazy. That is so high. Is this legitimate? So that's why it took so long to even talk about them on the channel, because I spoke to the team. I can't even tell you how many times it's like, look, I like what you're doing. I'm just still trying to wrap my mind around why you're paying so well. And they essentially have leased a trading algorithm, what's it called, quant trading algorithm, from a company that's been using that for 25 years, that have averaged 65% returns annually pretty regularly. And they've leased that algorithm from a company, and they're using it to trade in cryptos. And so that's where they get this high yield that they're paying out. So there are more secure options where you're like, oh man, I could lose my money. They have some safeguards that if all of a sudden the algorithm starts not working at all, that they shut it off real quick so you're at least not losing your positions. But that would cut off the gains. They have some other more safe ones too. They recently bought a crypto brokerage, and in the EU, and you can put your money into a brokerage account where it just actually stays in the brokerage account. That allows them to then borrow more funds against their own money to be able to trade, but then they give you lesser gains. And so it falls into the safety category of like Celsius.com, possibly even a little bit more safe than Celsius, and but it pays higher returns than Celsius. So I think they're going to have some massive momentum. Freeway token, big fan of that. Let me see if there's anything. Let's go over to Wanchain for a second because they had some big news. Let's look at their token price. See, back in 2018, 2017, this was one of the biggest ICOs, and their ICO price was like at 30 or 33 cents, though they weren't actually tradable on the market. There didn't used to be a Uniswap, and so for you to become tradable, you had to get a Binance listing or a listing on some big exchange, and that usually took anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So finally, they were tradable on the markets. They boomed all the way to almost $10, and then this was all the way late in April. The crypto market, or May, the crypto market or bear market had already started, and crypto winter had begun, and so they boomed pretty good, and then they went really flat. And so when I really started stocking up on them is the later part of the crypto winter and picked up a large position. I started this channel a few videos in December, but really January, and this was one of the first ones I covered, and it did go all the way up to 240 as like DeFi spring really took off and all the DeFi projects took off. And then it kind of settled back like this and to some really attractive prices. And one of the things I've been doing is farming on Zookeeper. Now, I have about $140,000 locked up on Zookeeper. In fact, I can pull it up so that you all can take a look at it. If you're a longtime follower, you know all about Zookeeper because I've talked about it a number of times. But let me just bring this over here. Go here. So this is Zookeeper. And it'll tell you I've got 90,000, basically almost 90,000 liquidity here, 30,000 here, and about 4,000. If you add that all up, it's 30 plus 90, 120. So just over 120,000 on that, and it pays me right now in Zoo rewards 6,561 Zoo. Zoo is trading for, last I checked, about 35 cents. So that's about $2,000 per week. Plus, I'm also getting this WASP reward, and WASP is trading for about 10 cents last time I checked. So when you add that all up, it ends up close to about $10,000 a month on that. Now, if the Zoo and WASP prices go up, then actually those returns go up. But that's what it's been about right now. I've been doing this since January. I love their platform. You interacts with MetaMask, so you can have Wanchain interact with your MetaMask. You have to do the same thing like you did to get Binance Smart Chain to work with it. You just go through that same process. And so Zookeeper has had this going on for a long while. They also have these little NFTs that you can get, and then you can increase your rewards. Like I have this one that increases my Zoo rewards by 45%. This one that increases by 30%, and this one by 22%. So there's some ways to get that. I won't go into that. Check out my previous videos on Zookeeper where I do go more in depth. Let's talk about Zoo Jeans because this is what I want to talk to you about. Yesterday, this is the first major NFT project to launch on Wanchain, at least that I'm aware of. And Zoo Jeans is really cool. So essentially right now you're getting like a 2D version of it. And they're building this race game that kind of reminds me of like Mario Kart. And so your little NFTs, it's randomly generating their attributes as well as how they look cosmetically. So they actually have like power, mind, and special abilities that you can get lucky and get. And I mean, these are going to look really fun. And so I have pulled up here, or down at the bottom here. These are two of the ones I got. Now, I did go a little bit crazy. I got, I think, 22 of these. Yesterday. They're only about 60 won a piece. I think when it's all said and done, it's about 64 won a piece that you pay. So I think they're $60, and because Wanchain was just under $1, I think that's why it was 64 plus small transaction fee. And the transaction fees on the Wanchain network are tiny, a fraction of a cent. And so yeah, I went crazy and I bought a whole bunch of these. And so this one's a secret rare. Here's the strength, constitution, dexterity, defense, attack. Here's the mind, 100% wisdom. Yeah, that's fitting.
That's fitting for J-Rain, no question.
Humility. Oh, it's not on here. That's fitting too. All right, luck, psyche, recovery, magical, social, and then this one, right? Strength is 9. Well, yeah, I haven't been to the gym in a while either. Constitution 72. You know, and then so here's the different like look traits that you can see. It also has talents. I don't know how they play, but I'm looking forward to this. Zookeeper partnered with a game maker that's helping them make this game. So looking forward to this game. There's only 10,000 total of these, and they will be opening up the next leg of their sale 16th of November, so tomorrow at 10 o'clock UTC. And so they sold 4,000 of these, and to participate in that sale, you had to already have an account open for a while because they dropped an NFT into your account that allowed you to be able to buy these. If you didn't have that NFT, you weren't able to buy yesterday till the very end of it, but there was only like 400 left, and they went like that once. And now I don't think you have to have one of these for this drop. So if you're interested, $60 worth of one, just YouTube a video on how to make Wanchain interact with your MetaMask. You can buy one on Binance, or if you're in the US, you can use Kucoin. D, will you put some links down below for Binance and also Kucoin that if they don't have an account, they can get them there. They can get Wanchain, and then you can send it over to your wallet if you're interested in participating in there. I've been a big fan of Zookeeper for a while, and so looking forward to this. And do I know that this is going to do tremendously? I don't. But at $60 for the NFT, it made sense for me to put a big gamble on it because I like everything Zookeeper's done today, and they keep under-promising and over-delivering. So I imagine that will continue. All right. We're probably close to the 35-minute mark.
Yeah, we're close. While you've got Wanchain pulled up, somebody says, Inkit says Wanchain needs rainmakers to take off. Somebody asked, what does it need to take off? I'm trying to remember where that question. What does Wanchain need to lift off? Devin Ferguson said that.
So I've been thinking about this for a while because I like Wanchain. Their tech is amazing, but sometimes even if your tech is amazing, you don't get into the focus or the narrative cycle. Now, DeFi has been out of the narrative for a while, and so that's part of the reason. If you looked at its patterns, it's very similar to most of the DeFi projects. But I was thinking also about Render, and I am not endorsing buying Render at these prices. But let's look at Render. Oh, Render was boring. Okay, it took off early this spring. Boring. Oh, they're switching over to Solana, and they're focused at the Solana conference. So all of a sudden, they get a lot of focus on them, and bam. So they went from $1, or 85 cents here, to almost $5 real quick with that. And that forms a nice W pattern. Okay, let's look a little bit closer at this. Okay, so you had lower lows here. You had this big takeoff, higher lows here. I think it's priming for a run, personally. Obviously, I'm invested in this one. I showed you exactly what my positions are. I was just holding Wanchain, but when I found Zookeeper, I was like, okay, why don't I earn money while I'm waiting for Wanchain to go up? And it's nice because, truthfully, the time I did this, Wanchain was trading about 20 cents. I think this is January of this year. And I moved over, I think, a total of 80,000 won. At first, 40,000 won, because I was like, let me just see. I don't know Wanchain. And I don't know Zookeeper and WanSwap. It was first started as just WanSwap, and you could provide some liquidity there. And then Zookeeper team is part of the WanSwap team, and they built Zookeeper so that you could get even extra rewards. But I moved about over 80,000 won total, but now that's grown to like 120 some thousand in value, even though Wanchain is trading below it. So really in the last 9 months, I've grown 50% in value on my Wanchain by being here over what the Wanchain price is. So not only is Wan appreciated, but the value has grown extra in addition to that. So for me, it made sense for me to be in there. And so to participate, I had to sell half my Wan into, say, the WASP token so I could farm it. Watch the Zookeeper video, and it will show you how to use not only Zookeeper but WanSwap, because those two go hand in hand. You need both those sites in order to do it. So it made good sense to me. I've actually taken some profits out of there too, where I'd have even higher numbers, but sometimes I'm like, where am I going to free up some liquidity? And so, honestly, I get this yield farming returns like every week. I mean, I bought all these 22 NFTs with some profits from the past like 3 days of farming. So.
Yeah, not bad. Hey, good segue time. Talking about Zoo, and as promised, it's right at the 35-minute mark. Briggs asked the question, what's with the recent Zoo price drop?
What goes up comes down. Let me take a look and see what the price is at. The way I go to that is, I don't know that it's listed somewhere else. I go to OneSwap.finance. And then I click on the analytics section, and this gives me the price of the WASP token. I don't think that they've taken the time to list it on CoinGecko. Yeah, let me just check. Oh, yeah, it's there. They did. Okay, so it's at 25 cents. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? It always does this. It doesn't go straight up, so a couple steps forward, 1 step back. Now, the downside to Zoo as a token is it's kind of like Dogecoin in that Zoo pays off. There are some sinks, unlike Dogecoin. Dogecoin has no sinks, but Zoo has no cap on how much can be printed every month, right? And so there are some sinks that totally burn it and get rid of it, but there isn't a fixed market cap. Like, even though Bitcoin's minting rewards, it's limited, and every 4 years goes down by half, and eventually will go to zero. That's not the case with Zookeeper. That is the case with the WASP token, that after a while the WASP token rewards will go away completely. So they do have a fixed supply. Zoo has no fixed supply. So as far as holding Zoo, it's a risk. I don't know how much track record this is going to show. Yep, just the last little while. It was as low as 5 cents. But I'm not holding Zoo for returns. I do hold some Zoo, not for returns, but I can show it on Zookeeper. Let me bring this back and just increase this. So I have some locked in liquidity here, Zookeeper and WASP, and I only have a total of 4,896 in here. You see how it keeps updating, and that's the yield returns that I'm getting. So that's really fun, and when you go to harvest this, look how cheap these transaction fees are. So what? That would be 1 cent. This would be 1/10 of a cent. Like, it's so cheap, it's amazing.
Hey, bring that back up, Jay, because that
is it cut off?
was cut off a little bit. Yeah.
I'll have to. It's processing right now. I'll have it in just a sec.
I'm sure. I mean, what they could see was 0.00, so I'm sure that everybody understands that it's cheap.
Let me go ahead and harvest here. So, yeah, there we go. 0.00088, which is 1/8 of a cent, or like 8% of a cent.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of transaction costs we love. So just targeted, put it over here into my, I've got 90 in wallet, and the reason is I switched a bunch and I put it into here. Yeah, 477 won. So I have some more liquid because I'm gonna buy some more of these when I can. Really cool. I love these designs. I had a lot of fun with, did you ever play on, was it Super Nintendo, the Mario Kart?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the original Mario Kart.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine how a game like that would do well when there's this kind of, like the NFTs and other things, I think could do really well. So whether it will or not, everything in this, we're risk takers, right? That's why we're here. But with risk come good rewards if it pans out like we think it's going to. All right, let's look at the other comments.
Yeah, so we touched on Freeway token a little bit, but some people are asking a little bit more about it.
Okay.
AJ, where do you see the price of Freeway token in this cycle?
Let's take a look at it. I think it's over $1 token. That's my best guess. Not financial advice. That's how I'm thinking about it for my own investment, and it could go well over $1. I think of it in terms of what happened to Celsius. So, again, we're seeing 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Thank goodness. So I'm going to pick up some more at this price. So if you buy it now, you'll be front running me, because at this price, I'm going to find a way to buy some more because I've been trying to increase. I would love to hold like 20 million of this. And right now I have 3.5 to 4. I don't know where in there because I've just been, every time I can, it's like, okay, what can I sell to buy more of this? And the problem is I don't like selling things when they're cheap. I like selling them when they're up. And so some things are starting to pop off, which is great. but at this price, I want to buy more. Now, unfortunately, I missed. I really was gonna put in like 80,000 into this at like this price, and that probably alone would have pumped the price because there's not a ton of liquidity out there. So the depth on Uniswap is just 35,000, or the 2% depth on each side, 35,000, and on PancakeSwap it's only like 7,500. And so looks like right now PancakeSwap's a little bit cheaper than Uniswap. I don't mind the Uniswap fees so much when I'm buying like $10,000 worth at a time. But when you're new, Uniswap right now is completely unusable. I remember when I was trying to do $400 transactions and the transaction fees were $80. That's painful. So if you're in this, category where that's your investment thing, really PancakeSwap or Bithumb, I have no idea how to say their exchange. They have some pretty good liquidity there, as well as a little bit on BitMax. So,
yeah, and Eric Scheffler just says that he's super stoked about Freeway token. I agree. That's it's tough when we're doing this live and you see a price like that and you're like, oh crap, like
I don't know.
We should go buy some. Everybody stop. Let's all go buy some Freeway token. We'll grab some in 20 minutes or so.
Are the links down below for our Freeway token links
for Aubit? Yeah, I believe
for the
so.
Aubit.
Down in the description. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, and that did just launch in the U.S., right?
Just barely.
Yeah, and so I started to go through the process, and then I can't remember what I was doing. I wasn't able to finish it, but I'm really excited to get going on that. And like, who was it before? Randall, who says that he's personally used it and he's recommended it to his mom, and now he's getting rewards from his mom. I mean, it really is. It's an amazing project.
Well, speaking of Aubit, that pays you 3% per month return on their riskier stuff. This is their superchargers, which you then have to hold 20% of the Freeway token. And I pulled up the Celsius charts because it reminds me a lot of Celsius, which is much higher returns, a little bit higher risk, higher returns. And then they do have a product that competes head-to-head with Celsius with similar levels of risk, maybe even a little bit lower risk than what Celsius has, with higher returns. And so really what they did was cut out the need for companies like Celsius, because what Celsius does is it takes your money, it lends it to people that are doing things like quant trading, and then they're happy to pay Celsius a higher return than Celsius is then paying you. And what Freeway token is completely takes them out of the loop, goes directly to their quant trading with the money. They're then paying you higher percent returns with it. And so that's and so if you want the lower level of risk, you can do the the brokerage accounts and have it there, and you get lower amounts of return but still higher than Celsius. So you had an article you were sharing with me earlier on, there's a bank, and this is one that's actually kind of crypto friendly that I've heard about. Do you have that article?
Yeah, well, Square, right? So the POS operator, right, on your iPad, they just recently became a bank, or whatever, got their license. They're an official bank now. And I got this email that was like, oh, Square Bank, and right in the subject line it was like high APY or whatever. So I was like, oh, I was interested, right? High APY, new bank, like let's see what they're offering, right?
Yeah.
0.5%. I think APY, that's per year, right? That's not like 5% per 0.5% per day. I was like, is this for the entire year? And it said that it is 8 times the national average in the United States for APY right now.
So funny when you read me that article and you're like, oh, look, they're paying high APYs. I was like, well, what are they saying is high?
Right.
And you're like, oh, 0.5%. I'm like, per day? That's freaking unreal. No way. And you're like, APY per year. And
no,
like,
you knew there was no way it was per day. But
5%.
It really does feel criminal to an extent, though, right? I mean, that's what they're offering, and they're calling that high yield. I mean, comparing that to Aubit right now, it's just like...
Yeah, I wouldn't call it in the criminal realm. They're free to offer whatever stupidly low interest rate they want and call it, oh, it is high compared to what your bank's giving you at your regular bank, but they're just a regular bank too. And so, yeah, they're taking that money out, making huge amounts of returns. How do you think banks have all this money to pay all the fines for abusing their power? They have, oh, we just paid $400 million in fines. Oh, but we made about $7 billion with what we were doing that we had to pay those $400 million in fines for. Plus, they pay huge amounts of lobbyists around the world so that they're protected politically. And so DeFi brings a whole different system. I mean, what am I earning on Zookeeper? What's that, about 10% per month? Yeah, per month.
Crazy. A couple OMI questions here, Jay. So first of all, Getsy says, hey, Crypto Ring, new viewer here. Really enjoyed your interview with Taps regarding OMI, Taps Trades. You can go back and watch that. It's from, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But from, where did that one go? Valentine says, what do you have to say to those who say that OMI and VeVe won't succeed?
That. Do they know what they're talking about? Oh my gosh. So there is a risk. There's some risk in the longer term. And so initially they have this great juggernaut where I was a pre-sale investor in Akomi in 2017, 2018. And they did terrible. I was totally wrong before I was right. Their price during the downturn went crazy low. In fact, let's pull it up. And I even kind of forgot about them in the whole bear market because I hadn't heard any updates from them, nothing. So I thought they were dead. They were not. But their pitch always made sense to me. They spent half the time talking about this wallet they were going to do, like a card wallet, credit card type size wallet, hardware wallet. And at the time, hardware wallets were a really big thing. And I was like, this whole NFT with the big licenses thing, like, because CryptoKitties were out and we kind of knew what NFTs were a little bit. And I was like, that makes a ton of sense. Well, they came out with their VeVe app late last year. And then people, like, I didn't even hear about it till February. In February, it took, their token took off. Now, the problem is a lot of their tokenomics are built so that it has some things that still haven't taken place with their token. They did make some choices that they built on GoChain, which was a smart decision in 2018 that turned out terrible for them because they knew they didn't want to build on Ethereum because Ethereum transaction fees at the time were high. They got cheap during the down market because nobody was using it, but then they got high again as soon as it got usage. So they were smart to build on GoChain over Ethereum because transaction fees were high on Ethereum. But GoChain really never materialized their vision. They didn't get enough network effects, enough people launching on them, so that when Akomi went to launch on some of the different centralized exchanges, the centralized exchanges are like, well, we don't even have a GoChain node running, so you'd have to pay us a lot extra, because then we'd have to run a GoChain node for people to be able to trade your token. So now they're bringing it over to Immutable X, and maybe they already have. I don't know where they are in the announcement of that. There's some things that have to happen. They're then going to allow their NFTs, which are some of the best NFTs out there, period. I mean, the quality on these are amazing. You can use them in virtual reality. And some people say, well, they're not truly non-fungible tokens because they're trapped on their centralized system. And they are for now. They're right on that. They are for now. So what happens when things take off is, well, there's problems now that are holding the price down. As those problems get resolved, people say, oh my gosh. And I refer to this in real estate investment, which I did for 20 years. And it's like I had this one striking conversation that illustrates the point tremendously. So we're out in kind of the edge of growth, and there's this Walmart going in this location and some other retail things, and they're like, do you know that 20 years ago, the family that owned that came to my family and said, we'll sell that all to you for, I can't remember if it was $10,000 or $20,000. I was like, well, clearly you didn't buy it, did you? And he's like, well, no, there was nothing here at the time, but man, you know, it just sold for $2 million to the people that then had it developed. And I was like, wow, yeah, pretty good returns, right? And they're like, yeah, and they're like, oh man. I was like, well, why don't we go 4 miles down the road this way and buy you a lot that doesn't have anything on it, but it's in the path of growth, and it probably be sellable to some retail shops down the road for probably a couple of million. He said, but there's nothing there. Well, yeah, that's why you can pay $10,000 for it or $20,000 for it, because nothing's there. But people can't see the vision of, oh, there's these obstacles in the way. But picture what it looks like when those obstacles are out of the way and where the value will be. It's that simple. So I call it the golden vision. The truth is some people will never have the golden vision. And so my guess is a lot of you here have golden vision, because I don't tend to resonate really well with those who don't. They tend to buy emotionally. Though we're all emotional creatures and we all act on emotion more than we like to think, a lot of what I convey is on the logical side. So people who are totally emotional, they look at my channel and they're like, this guy's boring, I don't get it. And it's like, that's okay. I don't try to resonate with everyone. I don't try to be like, if you're thinking in like the Marines or something where everyone can fit in it. I try to be more like the Navy SEALs or like the, the
Green Berets or something like that, right?
Green Berets or the Special Forces, the Mossad or wherever, like, I forget Russia's Special Forces, but they're pretty cool. What are they? I don't remember even what they're called. But like the Special Forces, right? There's like the group. This isn't about having the biggest channel in the world. This is about having the most informed audience. Because then we're going to have the wealthiest audience. And picture 4 years from now, like if a lot of you play this well and you take this right up and then you take profits out and then you have a lot of liquidity sitting on the sidelines, say even at making you 42% a year on Aubit, and then you have that liquidity that you can then throw into things when in 2.5 years when the prices are really low. And then you take that right up and say your entire portfolio 50x's from there. So say you get to 100,000 in this bull run, and then you take that, put it on the side, and over time you pay your taxes. But then Aubit helps you recoup the tax that you paid over 2 years. So you get to about the same point you were before you paid taxes. You're back at 100,000. And then you put it in at the bottom of the market, you take that right up, and overall you 50x from there. Fair to say you're in a really good position. So our goal is to have the wealthiest audience in the world in 4 to 5 years. And imagine the yacht parties, because some of you are going to make a lot more than 100,000 this cycle. And say you get to like 5 million, and then you 50x it from there for the next cycle. Yeah, I want to see your nice yacht. That will be a lot of fun. I'll fly down to Miami, or, we can fly down, meet you in Cancun or wherever. You can pick everyone up, and, we'll go have like 3 or 4 or 5 of the audience that did that and bought big yachts. Will I buy a big yacht? I really have to ask my wife about that. She's not sold on that idea. I floated it to her, but.
Hey, we still need to give away the wand. We're pretty close. Do you want to give it away right now, or do you want to do one more question? Let's give it away.
Let's announce the winner.
Yeah.
That's my thought. And I love positivity, and I love people in the channel that are very positive. And let's see, I'm just scanning through for one that I want.
The suspense is killing us.
I want to highlight Christian Hudek right near the bottom. What do you think of all those channels making hype around some coins and then dumps big ones on their followers? I just can't stand it how they keep doing this over and over to newcomers. Yeah, me neither, right? When you're brand new, you look for signs of wealth. And there are some channels that are really well produced. There's some people that show lots of flashy things. Like, I remember 2017, there were 2 young kids that were like 17. And they had all these Ferraris and Lamborghinis that were driving around and stuff. And over time, I figured out, I think their dad owns part of the shop that works on those, and that's why they're driving around, because they don't have those. But then you're thinking, oh, they're showing signs of wealth, so they must know what they're talking about, and they did exactly that. I'm not going to comment on specific ones that I dislike. I'd say it's better this cycle than it was last time, but there are a lot of people that are they have very nice-looking YouTube channels that don't understand thinking like an investor. And you possibly understand thinking like an investor better than they do. They just have a YouTube channel, but they're not magic. And so what you find is, what are their returns? There's one that says, oh yeah, I'm a decamillionaire. They have a very well-produced YouTube channel, which is great. And my guess is they probably make $1 million to $1.5 million per month. I don't know what they pay in salary expenses, probably a lot, but most of their wealth comes from their job of running a YouTube channel. But their wealth is not through their trades. Their trades, they're not very good on their trades at all. One of them was smart enough that they did partner with Token Metrics. And it's funny because what I like about this person, they're very honest. And they're like, yeah, when we partnered with Token Metrics, our percentage of being right went way up. Yeah, because Token Metrics knows what they're doing. And you don't. That way, right? So they're always hyping at the top, and I don't know if it just comes from not really understanding, and they're like, oh, Ethereum is way up at 4,500 when it hit 4,500 before 44, and I believe in Ethereum, it's going to 10,000, it's going to 10,000, and it wasn't ready for that. But they don't understand those kind of things, and they buy when it's hot, and then they sell it when it crashes, like with their own portfolio. And you see that, and you're like, man, with as much as you make, and as long as you've been in crypto, like, why are you not at 200 million yet? You should be there. And the truth is because they make bad trades.
Yeah, that's a good one to end on. We got to wrap it up here. So Christian, Jay's going to comment back to you after this live stream. You're the winner of the 125 won. And we can figure out how to get that to your wallet there. A lot of other good questions today. Maybe we'll take a look at some of these after the fact, and we can talk about them on Wednesday, perhaps.
Do we have just a second for Christian to be able to put in there? Yeah, we do. Try putting in your Wanchain address, Christian, if you have one already, or your MetaMask, and let's see if it kicks it out. Because I know if you put in the YouTube comments, once it's a video, it'll remove it. I don't know why.
Well, and maybe we can figure out a way he can give you his Telegram handle or something like that.
Yeah, give us your Telegram handle, because then we can DM you. Of course, you might get some fake crypto rains DMing you, but if you're just giving them your Wanchain address, and what can they do? Just don't be giving anyone your private keys or passwords or anything like that, or clicking on suspicious links for them, because there are scammers in this, right? And they do watch my channel as well as others, and you'll see it in YouTube, a bunch of fake comments from people like that. But do give us your Telegram channel, and we will message you, and we'll get your Wanchain address, and we can send you that. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to all our winners on all the different giveaways we had. We still need one more winner. We need to verify your email address with the Pocket Arena, and I sent you an email personally, as well as Stardust Runner sent you an email, because we need that to be able to announce or to have Pocket Arena. They want all 4 of the winners at the same time. We're waiting on the results from one to be able to send you your castles from Pocket Arena. So also we'll have some giveaways coming up with Cortex and Fidir, some 401js once we cross over 25,000 total subscribers, and we are getting close.
Yeah, right on. Hey, thanks a bunch, Rainmakers. We will see you soon.
See you all.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, buy before you could. Was told to buy when it was boring, like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic, they dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, a time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Seeking out this wrong, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. I'm sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crappy. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, but time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.